Hello there and welcome to the Community Life. Here we talk with the amazing humans from the community world about their life journeys and learn from each other. And today we have a conversation with Richard Millington, the founder of FeverBee, a football fan, a published community author who loves data, but still may get bored during a photo shooting. So, hello, Richard.
I love that's what you found out about me in advance. Out of all the things you could use, I love that. Hi, Yuri. Thank you for having me on this show. It's great to be here and finally get a chance to chat to you on this. I know we spent like half a year trying to work this out, perhaps.
Finally, I remember when, it started crazy because it was crazy, really. From my side, I sent you an invite, you accepted it, then it disappeared from my calendar. And then I'm receiving a message like, hey, are you joining? I was like, joining what? And then but yeah, I don't know how it works, but sometimes it works that way. But anyway, here we are. Let's do it. So for you, what is the difference between traveling by plane and helicopter?
I've traveled by helicopter once in my life, like a week ago. I was in Dubai. And Dubai is kind of a strange place. Like some people I know really love it, some really don't like it. But I was like, okay, I should check it out because I'm curious about these places, and I go through it all the time when I'm traveling elsewhere. So I figured I'd check out Dubai. And yeah, I did a helicopter trip there, and so I made a joke on my Facebook, being like, "Now I travel by helicopter." Some people didn't get the joke, and now they think that's how I live.
Exactly.
And I want to be very clear, like, I've had some modicum of success, but I'm nowhere near at the helicopter level. So traveling by helicopter, way scarier, but like fun. I would recommend it if you've got the resources and the money. By all means, go ahead. Plane is still my standard way of traveling for now, but give it time. Give it time.
And how do you feel about Dubai yourself?
Well, how do you feel about Dubai?
I have no idea. I've never been there. I just heard crazy things about that, like
crazy
so
good things or crazy bad things.
I would say that's what I've heard. It's like a country of millionaires or something like that. So
really?
I don't know.
I think Dubai, it reminds me a lot of Las Vegas. Like, it's built in like the desert, and I thought I'd love Las Vegas. Well, no, sorry, I thought I'd hate Las Vegas. I actually kind of like it. I don't know why I kind of like it. It's everything that I don't like, but like I kind of like it. Dubai, it's not really my vibe. When I travel, I like Asia. That's the kind of place I like to go. I like scuba diving. I like traveling without spending a fortune in every hotel. I like just just doing my own thing, renting a scooter, driving around an island. That's kind of my thing. I think Dubai, I get it, but just not quite my vibe. And I think it's good to like figure out what places are and aren't your vibe. And Dubai, no offense to anyone out there that loves Dubai, not my thing. But the airport is amazing. Like the ease of getting around, the ease of use is incredible. But apart from that, not quite my thing.
There is this joke. I saw this meme somewhere. Like, you need just to have money. No, not money. You have to have persistent willpower, a lot of work, and oil, and then you can build everything. It's very, very fun. But what place is your vibe?
I like Thailand a lot. Like I don't usually go back to the same places I've been because there's so much of the world I want to see a lot. And I remember I spent a year traveling around the world once in like 2014 or so, and that was awesome. And like out of all the places there's only like 3 or 4 that I'd go back to. And Thailand is just fun. It's not difficult to get around. It's relatively inexpensive, and almost whatever kind of trip you like, you can do there. If you like beaches, you can do beaches. If you like scuba diving like me, you can do that. I mean, whatever kind of thing you like, you can do it there. And that's what I kind of like. So yeah, Thailand is probably my first choice. But again, I like to mix it up. I like to go places I haven't been before. So we'll see.
Talking about this world around the world trip, tell me a backstory.
The backstory.
How did it start?
Yeah, so is a goal of mine before I turn 30 to travel around the world. I don't know if you have this, but when I was like 21, I wrote a bucket list of things that I wanted to do. And it's like write a book, start my own company, get married. And I was like just crossing them off. And traveling around the world was like the next one on the list. And so we made a plan to travel around the world, but without flying. That was the plan. And so going through Europe was easy. Like Europe's really easy to get around. And then we went to like Turkey. Then I think it was Georgia, Armenia. Then after that it gets really interesting because it's Iran and Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan and then China, then a boat to Japan and back. And then like through, I think it's Vietnam, Cambodia. I can't remember quite what order, but Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore. And then we were stuck because there's actually no way to get into Australia by boat without claiming asylum in Australia. And so then we began to fly. So we went from like Australia to New Zealand, then I think Vanuatu, Fiji, Hawaii. And going from Fiji to Hawaii is crazy because we left at like 10 p.m. at night and we arrived at like 2 a.m. the same day.
Yeah.
That's just one of those weird things. Then like Hawaii, Alaska, then North America and back. But like it's an incredible trip, but it's like it doesn't really cost that much to do, and it's just traveling by land is so much more interesting because you get to these land borders where at an airport they're like ready for you to arrive, and up to that point I've mainly just arrived in a place at the airport. At a land border, especially some random land border out of the way, they're often like, wow, there's people here, and then like everyone kind of like gathers around because especially if you're the only Westerner they've seen for a while, then they search your bags and stuff, and it's like, okay, this is experience. But I recommend it. I think like if you've got the means to do it, and I appreciate there's a lot of privilege there that a lot of people don't have, but if you've got the means to do it, then absolutely do it. I mean, especially like places like the Stans, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, they're just awesome places to go that we would never go. So yeah, really, really fun.
Have you seen a Borat movie?
Seen one, I can't remember which. I think it was the last one, right? Yeah. I think I saw the last one.
There were, I feel like there were two movies, and I know that people from Kazakhstan really hate this movie, and it was, but still, I can't say that I like it, but it's just, it's very similar to South Park. It's crazy as shit, but it's still like, it's some kind of sarcasm, some kind of like not showing like real side, but still, like showing some bad things in this very sarcastic way, and also good things in very sarcastic way. So I wonder how did you feel while you were in Kazakhstan, for example?
I feel with all the stans, I mean, there's difference between them, but like they're just so different. I think out of all the places we went to, the stans are just so different. And Uzbekistan, like there's certain things I love when I visit places, like bread. I'm really interested in bread because everywhere you go, they've got a different way of like baking bread, and that's really interesting. Kyrgyzstan, really interesting because of the mountains and nothing about it. So I don't want to select one like country in particular. I feel like the Borat movies, I've only seen one. I didn't like it, to be honest, but I think we need people that can do this kind of thing because occasionally they make a good point. I feel just the Stans, there's a warmth to the people. There's a lot of issues there as well. But the history is just incredible. And the things you get to see are just different from almost anywhere else in the world. Like it's just, it's hard to describe. But I think that people should go to places that they know nothing about, because in every country you go to, there's going to be interesting stuff to visit. And you should just pick a place that's off the beaten track and go, because it'll be so much more fun. Like it really will.
Yeah, it's very like that because it's all like this stan countries like parts of Soviet Union, and people heard really different crazy story about countries of Soviet Union. But then some stories are truth, but in general, like there are really good people. So I totally understand what you're talking about. And what do you remember the most vividly from this trip?
Vividly. It's hard to pick out. I think there's a couple of things. One, it's interesting to be with your partner 24/7. This is what we didn't think about. Like usually, like we like both worked, and then she would do her thing, I do my thing during the day. But when you travel, you're like together all the time, right? And that's like an interesting experience, for better or worse. I think Iran was amazing. Because obviously in the West we hear a lot of things about Iran. The people were so friendly and so kind and so generous, inviting us into their homes, even if they didn't know us, like it's just, yeah, that was really, really interesting. And like for me, I think history is amazing. I love seeing like the history, and Iran is just incredible, and there's amazing sights to see there. I think Turkmenistan has this really interesting place called the Entrance to Hell.
Mm.
Um, and basically, do you know like what this is?
No, not really. So please tell me.
So basically, it's I don't know what to tell me. It's like a gas pit. It's like a something. And like 40 or 50 years ago, the Soviet Union, they lit it to burn off the excess gas, and they thought it would take
Ah,
like
yeah,
a few
yeah.
hours. It's been burning for years, but it actually looks like the entrance to hell, and the photos you get of that are just incredible. I think both of those things were really memorable, and it's just the way that people are, like if you read a guidebook on any place, it's like, oh, this place is dangerous, this is scary, and when you're actually there, you're like, really, and I remember I read like one of these guidebooks for like visiting London, where I live, and it's talking about how dangerous London is, and I was like, that's like the mindset I should have when I visit somewhere else where it says it's really dangerous. Obviously you have to be aware of some things, but I feel fundamentally like the world isn't as dangerous. I mean, okay, now I'm saying that at perhaps the wrong time, but like on like the micro level, like person to person, the world is not as dangerous, as what we think. And so I think traveling helps you just appreciate how good most people are. I think that's probably my takeaway from it.
Is there something you'd wanted to forget from this trip but can't?
That's such a great question. Something I can't forget. I find it very I'm trying to think of something specific, because like a whole year, I find it very difficult when we're treated better because we're white. And there's some places where there's like an association with whatever it is, like prestige or just money, and it just feels very, I don't like it, like I don't like it when I'm in like a line to get a visa and I'm called to like the front. I find that really weird and uncomfortable. So things like that, perhaps. But generally,
Yeah.
like most people, I can't think of any really bad incident that happened. For a whole year, I mean, there were times where we were like tricked out of some money, but not like a major amount that actually bugs me. I ate one or two things that caused adverse effects, and so I don't really. No, there's nothing really there's no single thing that I was like, no, I'm happy with almost everything I did. Yeah.
I'm happy with my memories. Okay. And what was the hardest part of being for 388 days together 24/7 with your partner?
It's funny because a couple of years after that, we got divorced. And so it's hard to separate the memories of the two. But like actually traveling together, it's difficult because I was still working during the year. And there were times where she wasn't. And we knew that up front, but it's like it's kind of difficult when you're in a situation where I've got to work, and what is she supposed to do during that time? Because if she like goes and has fun, I'm like, oh, I wish I could have fun, but like the same time, what you gonna do? Just sit around and be bored? Like, and so you've got to resolve a lot of those things. And I think that was really, despite what happened in the end of that relationship, I feel like that really helped to figure out how to resolve issues. And I do think before you ever get married to someone or live with someone, travel with someone first, because you get to see how they respond when things aren't going well. And it really helped that, my ex was like, she is Lithuanian, and so spoke Russian, and that helped through so much.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine.
That was a huge win. And so, yeah, just seeing more about each other. But really, the challenges are just like, yeah, I think the only challenges we really had were times where perhaps we needed our own space and we didn't have that anymore. I mean, you could make it happen, but we didn't. And just times where I had to work, and then it's just kind of awkward to figure out what she's going to do. And obviously, she should go out and have fun, but like it feels a bit, awkward. Yeah.
I totally understand, because today is a working day for me and like the weekend for my wife, and like I can feel it. I can literally feel it right now. But my wife went to have fun with her friends, so it's all good. I'm working, everything okay. Thank you. And okay, so let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your parents. Who are they?
Wow, that's deep. It's like a therapy session again. Okay. My parents, I don't even know how to begin that. My dad, David, is from the north of the UK. Grew up in a town called Halifax. So he's definitely got that northern culture and vibe. But he's a very, very hardworking man, very disciplined. Yeah, and I've got a huge amount of respect for him. Quite funny as well, but in like a, don't know, less obvious way at times. Yeah, my mom is from like London initially, or like North London. Spent most of her time, well, since I was born, like working with kids. She used to volunteer at my school. Yeah, and took a bunch of jobs, like often just working with kids and special needs kids and things like that. So yeah, my parents, yeah, I've never been asked that in any interview I've ever done. Yeah.
Do you know how they met?
Yes, where they both worked. So they both worked in like the town that I was born in. So they met at work. Yeah.
While growing up, what was your best time spending with some of your parents?
I think on holidays for sure. It's funny I'm saying this because I know there's a real chance my parents might watch this, so I'm like always had that in the back of my mind.
Exactly.
I think honestly, like my dad worked really, really hard. My mum worked kind of part-time. So my mum was always around. My dad, was generally around, but after a working day. So it wasn't always available to spend a lot of time with, but on vacations is always good, especially like places we used to go in the UK. That was really fun, just to spend time and then also just get to know your parents, Everyone has a different relationship with their parents, and ours was maybe a little not like the family where we hug each other all the time, any of that. It's more like a more emotionally reserved family,
Yeah.
Yeah, but like just going on vacation, just seeing who they are and getting to know them, understanding what they like, understanding what they don't like, and just seeing them in action, like everyday interactions, I think was yeah, really interesting.
It's so fun that you mentioned that your parents might watch this or listen to this episode, because I remember, I at some point I was posting like daily on Facebook, and then my mom was on Facebook, and and my wife's mom was on Facebook, and they were like following my posts, and I was, oh my God, I have to choose words. I have to understand that everything I say can be used against me, and like it was so crazy. So when you're doing some social media post, or like on any social media, or doing some presentation, do you have in mind this, like, okay, my parents might watch it, so I have to be careful?
Not my parents. I mean, my parents might see it, but I think my parents will be bored of like a lot of this stuff. I've been talking about the same thing for like 15 years. I think when I post on like a personal, like I don't know about most people, but I keep a bit of a separation between my personal life and my professional life, just because
Mhm.
it's kind of a different persona for each, and I like having a bit of a divide. So my parents will probably read everything I put on like Facebook and Instagram, and I'm guessing almost nothing I put on LinkedIn and Twitter and those kind of platforms, which is why Threads is really annoying because it's like a combination of the two, and I
Mm.
can't quite figure out how to use Threads like right now because I don't want to use it for personal reasons because so many people from a professional environment, but yeah, I can't really do a professional environment either. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how to use it. So in answer to your question, I don't know. I don't think they will see this, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. We'll see.
What is the main difference between your professional life and personal life?
I think professionally, I think it's a more consistency, and I don't know if I did this by accident or it just tend to happen, but like if you follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter, I don't really talk about my personal life much. I mean, I talk about events I'm speaking at, but mostly it's like this is a way I think you can build a community better, data, community data, consultancy, community data. And it's more like consistency because I think of myself, this might be an arrogant thing to say, but like it's a brand, right? Like if you're a consultant, you're a brand. And I think like all brands, there should be a consistency in the messaging. On my personal life, I'm a lot more reserved now about what I used to be. Like I used to be getting involved in these discussions about politics and Brexit and all these things. And these days, like, if there's an issue that really grates me, of course, I'm going to be there for it. But like, I try not to. So I think the difference is professionally, it's more like this is a work thing, and if you meet me, I'm happy to chat. But like, yeah, on like social media, and that's one of those folks that tends to keep a separation between the two. And personally, I just share what's going on in my life. Instagram and Facebook, it's pretty locked down. I'm surprised that you found it actually. But like, yeah, it's I share what I'm up to, but it's pretty surface level stuff. I've got friends that I can go to for like, if I need like emotional support, I have friends I go to. I don't really want to use social media for that because for me, it's too
Yeah.
public, too open, too out there, And also, like, I could have clients that are reading it, so I don't want to be like, "Oh, this client is giving me a really tough time," because that's just a bit awkward, I think. Yeah.
I can imagine clients reading this and like, oh, then we receive a message like, "Rich story, like we didn't want to be that way." Sorry about that.
I mean, with clients, like, I feel the confidentiality is a sacrosanct
Yeah, exactly.
thing. And the only thing I'll say about them is stuff that is positive, because almost all of our clients are positive experience, and also like information I'm happy. I think they'd be happy for them to be out there. They'd be happy for that information to be out there because it's not a secret in the first place. You have to be careful because, yeah, I know of situations where other people in our space have said things that in a more public medium than what they thought it was. So you're gonna have to be a bit careful about that.
What was the craziest thing you've ever asked Santa about?
Ever asked what about?
Santa Claus.
Oh, the craziest thing I asked was Santa Claus. I can't remember. I mean, I literally don't have an answer to this question because I remember my brother and we used to have to write like a wish list, and that Santa Claus that would go to the North Pole, whatever. I don't remember like anything specific. I just remember a list, but like I remember being very confused by Santa Claus because it'd be Christmas Day and I'd be lucky and get presents, but the presents would be like, well, from Nan or from Granddad. And I'd be like, wait, I thought Santa was delivering these. I remember my parents would say, yes, but your Nan gives them to Santa to deliver to you. And I'm like, well, Santa's in the North Pole. My Nan is just down the road. It doesn't feel very environmentally friendly to me. I mean, like very confused about all that. Yeah, I don't have a good answer. Sorry, I cannot think of anything wild I asked Santa for. Yeah.
When did you understand that Santa was not as real as they said?
I don't know what story came first, but I know there's two. One is my best friend in school was a Jehovah's Witness. And at one point, he just said, Santa just doesn't exist. I'm being quite confused about that because, like, he never lied to me before. So why is he lying now? And then my brother, I don't know what age he was when he did this, but him and his friends decided to come up with an idea, which is ask Santa Claus for his autograph, and then they compared the results. And they were all different. So my brother concluded Santa Claus didn't exist. I don't know which story came first, but I remember like it was one of those two things. Yeah.
It was a real investigation.
Yeah, my brother is that wouldn't surprise me. That's what I know about my brother.
How do you feel when somebody wishes you to have a blessed or magical day?
I'll preface this by saying I'm an atheist. People can. I have no issue with like people that want to believe whatever they want to believe. I know where you're getting this from. I was speaking at an event in Disney. I think it was a socialmedia.org event, and like it's in Florida. And there's this one lady who, like, whenever I went there, she's like, "Have a blessed day," and I'm like, like, yeah, I don't have a strong feeling on that, but like, yeah, my views would be different. I do feel like in the USA, there's like almost an exaggeration of the sentiment, right? Like, where in the UK, we'd be like, have a good day, whereas in the USA, it's like, have a magical, amazing, blessed day. And I always find that a bit like strange. It's like at like restaurants as well, like in like the UK, it's like, good morning, sir. How can I help you? In like the USA, it's like, good morning, sir. How's your day going? It's like, wow, you need to chill out a little.
Stop harassing me. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny when you go to like, I said my ex was like Lithuanian, and when you go in there, it's like, why are you here? It's a completely different experience. Yeah.
What can make you bored?
Doing repetitive work. When I'm doing something that I've done like a bunch of times before, it can be quite repetitive. Yeah, so certain parts of the work I do, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a grind. Things that just don't require any creativity or skill. Part of what I'm doing at the moment is getting ISO 27001 certified for the business. And there's so many policies and documents I've got to trawl through. And the firm that we're using are great. Yeah, it's a real grind. It really doesn't excite me at all. So yeah, doing repetitive things and ironing as well. Like ironing clothes is just, I'd scream. I hate doing it. Like it's so much effort just to remove a crease. And yeah.
You're still ironing clothes? Really?
As opposed to having someone else that does it. I mean, I could on like work trips, yeah. If I like, if I'm staying in a hotel for a couple of days, I might use a dry clean there because there's so many other things to deal with. But in my personal life, yeah, I can spend time, on clothes. I can afford that.
I mean, like what I'm saying by that, because I do not remember the last moment I've ever ironed my clothes, because always when I wash something, I try to hang it that way that it will dry already, like in a good shape, and like
shirts won't do. It depends on like the clothes. Okay, so this is different. Like you're wearing a
yeah,
t-shirt now.
exactly.
If you're wearing like a collar shirt, like there would be creases all over that. And so then you've got to make a decision about whether you're okay with that. And for me, if I'm like presenting to a client or going on stage or going to wedding or whatever, like, no, there's no way. I've got to like feel okay in what I'm wearing. So ironing clothes, yeah, I hate doing it. I really hate doing it. Yeah.
What do you feel about discovering old graves?
Discovering old graves. You're okay about it? I have a strong opinion on that. I think like cemeteries are fascinating. Yeah, I don't really have like much on this. I think they're interesting places to go and visit. Yeah, I don't have much on this one.
How did you feel when you had a fire in your building?
I love that you gone through my Facebook page and like, oh, this happened. I'm going to go through this. Oh man, the fire in my building. This was it's actually a sad background to this. So I can't remember the year. It was like 2016, I think. There's a big fire in a building in London called Grenfell, and sadly a lot of people died. But it's because a lot of the buildings had like a cladding issue that was flammable when it shouldn't have been. And so, yeah, I was living in a building that like caught fire, not at the same level, nobody died, but like it's a scary situation. And for me, I was kind of thinking like, if this building went up in smoke, and I lost everything in it, assuming that everyone's alive, I kind of realized it wouldn't be such a big deal. You know, it'd be difficult because, you know, like I have to replace stuff and find somewhere to live, and that'd be annoying. But like in terms of possessions, like I realized I really don't have that many possessions anymore. I'm quite a minimalist, and like most of the stuff I need is like on my laptop. You know, I could access everything like remotely. So there's a couple of like memories and keepsakes that I would love to keep, but if everything went up in smoke, you know, touch wood, it wouldn't be a disaster for me because I feel like I could replace it like pretty fast. I'm not as attached to possessions really. Yeah.
What is the one thing that you would have missed?
When that building went up in smoke, there really isn't much I can think of. Because the way I live my life, there's like I really don't have much of an attachment to possessions. I'm trying to think of something big that would I'd really miss. Maybe just photographs, you know, like things that you can't replace that aren't backed up. But there really isn't much that I'm attached to in possessions. And I can really trying to think. And I'm just looking around now, but no, it's because also I've like moved house a bunch of times, so I've gotten rid of a lot of stuff. So like I'm quite light on that side, but like no, it's nothing. I mean, no, I feel like there should be though. What is something I'd really miss?
When was the last time you've printed photos?
20 years. You know, so when I got married, definitely someone else printed some photos on our behalf. Passport photos, obviously, but I don't think that counts. Maybe 20 years when you had those Kodak, like those one use things. Yeah, so maybe that like 20 years ago, I think. Yeah.
It's so fun. When you are visiting a new place, how many photos do you usually take?
I have no idea. I take photos of things that are interesting, but it's not like a count. It's more like how many interesting things do I see, or how many things that I think are going to be funny. But like, it could be like a photo of something dumb in my hotel room. It's like, oh, this spider is huge. I'm going to take a photo of it. And by the way, there's a spider in my room, so that's another issue. Yeah, like it's a funny thing. Like when I was doing that around the world trip, there's like places where they check the photos you've taken when you're leaving to make sure you didn't take any photos of like buildings or any of that. So like Turkmenistan was a lot like that. And you're going through like your photos thinking, well, I hope there's nothing bad in here. But there's lots of like really dumb photos. You like, you know, standing by with buildings. Like, How many photos do I take? Not many. I'm not huge on Instagram. I don't like try to build a big following on any of those platforms. So not many. I think for me, what I've heard, which is interesting, is that you should take more photos of your everyday life because later, those are the things that you see every day that you get nostalgic about. Then you don't have the photos of it. So I'm trying to do more of that. Just take photos of like like the apartment that I'm in, and just when I go back to my parents, I like taking photos of that because I'm like, okay, this is going to be here forever, and it's just interesting. Or like the street that I live on, because like there's no photos that I've seen of that street. Like it's things like that that I think I'll be like, oh, I wish I had a photo of that.
Do you ever take a photo of the same place in different time and then to compare what changed?
No, not deliberately. It might happen accidentally, but not deliberately. No. It'd be interesting though, especially around here, because they're building like so many things around here. It'd be interesting to see that time lapse over time. Why? Is this something that you do?
I've recently did one thing. So there is like a fence out of my window and there is some green stuff growing there. And I tried to catch like the progress of its growing. So I made a photo only when it started growing and like before the fall, so to see like the progress. And it was really massive, because like I see it every day and I don't see this small steps increase. But then when I see like how it started and how it ended, then like, oh yeah, now I see, now I know how it works. So I guess yes, but also not that deliberately as you've told. But I feel like it might be interesting, to check sometimes later, like because people when growing up, like they have photos of their real children, and then they have photos of them growing up, and then they have photos of them as adults, and they can compare. But it's very similar about places,
Yeah, I think place is interesting. I don't think there's any place I repeatedly take a photo of, but it would be interesting to see it. I wish I had more photos of the house that I grew up in over the years, because my parents still live in that house. So, but it's changed so much. So I definitely wish I had more photos of that. Yeah, I think before and after photos are good. Like I think at the beginning of last year, I began going to the gym like properly, doing weights and all that. And everyone said you should take a photo before and then later on. And I didn't, but I kind of wish I had, like I think it's that kind of progress is like probably good to track. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Yeah.
I saw an old photo on Facebook of you wearing these cargo shorts where you have a lot of pockets. And I felt like you were having a lot of stuff in your pockets. So I wonder, what did you usually have in your pockets?
Not think of what photo you're referring to. The answer is probably nothing, but like I'll go in a different direction with this. But like I grew up in a situation where like fashion was kind of scary to me, because like I was so scared of like making a mistake. So I never did anything adventurous. It was always like very like the most boring stuff possible. But I was also like buying really bad clothes. So a lot of like really baggy clothes that wasn't really like a good fit for me. And so it's funny when I look back in photos now, I'm like, wow, I dressed really badly. And then I think when I turned 30, I realized I was still dressing like I was 21. So it's only been the last couple of years that I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be like the most fashionable person in the world, but I do think there's a point where you've got to be like, all right, let's figure out how to dress smart. Let's make sure we've got the right fit, understand how colors go together, like understand the basics of that. I think guys may be a bit scared of that at times, or like I know that I had a bit of fear about it, but like once you kind of figure out the basics, it's kind of fun. So yeah, I think now I try to dress better than what I used to, for sure. So I have no idea what's in my pockets. Like usually I have a wallet and keys in there. Like I'm not that exciting of anything spectacularly in my pockets. But like, yeah, went in a bit of a different direction there.
Have you ever lost your voice after a football match?
No. I lose my voice from time to time when I give like a webinar. If it's like, so I remember like last week I gave a 2-hour workshop at the community-led event. And there was so difficult because like an hour through a 2-hour workshop, I'm like, wow, my voice is really going. So then I have to start drinking like a lot of water. Then I realized that I need the bathroom, but like I feel a bit unprofessional just to be like, bye everyone, we'll be back
Sorry.
in 10 minutes. And so yeah, a bit short on time. No, I don't think I lose voice after a football match. And I don't go to that many now. No, I don't think I lost my voice after a football match that I can recall.
What kind of fan are you?
You mean what team?
Football in general, like what kind of fan? Like how you understand this question? Just answer how you think about it. Yeah.
I'm an Arsenal fan. What kind of fan? Not a rabid fan. You know, like it's not like where if someone else supports a different team, I hate that person. I feel like that's a really dangerous place to be. I think it's fun to support a team. You know, people that don't do sports, I get it, but like it's fun because sports is like this great metaphor for life. You know, like yeah, there's some people have advantages, but people can overcome them all the time, and there's people doing amazing things, and there's great stories in sports. And so, yeah, in terms of football, I'm more of like a not casual. I'm more than a casual fan, but I'm not a devout fan. I'm interested in like many different sports, but like in football, it's Arsenal for sure.
Why Arsenal?
It's because my mum is like a Spurs fan, and they're like the rivals to Arsenal, and I think that's probably why I chose Arsenal, just to be annoying. But
like to rebel.
Yeah, but like once you've picked a team, you're stuck with that team for life. You know, you can't change. Like I don't know why that's a rule, but you can never change team. You're stuck with that team for life. Yes, that's kind of what happened to me. Arsenal were just at the right age, and that was it.
So fun that you mentioned it, because I remember when I was at school, we loved to watch mostly Series A, like Italian football teams. And I remember in our class there were a team for Juventus and team for Milan. And you know, like from day one, I don't know why, but even though at that time it was Andrei Shevchenko, like Ukrainian player who played in Milan, I don't know why I still, you know, was connected to Juventus. And like I don't watch football that more currently. Like I feel like the last time I watched, like it was some kind of world championship or something like that, and final of the world championship I watched or something like that. And still, you know, Juventus is always there, like this black, white, and now they have some kind of pink shirts, which is crazy, but back then they were black, white. So I totally understand how it works. I don't know why, but yes, once you've picked the team, you stay with it. There is no opportunity to change a team.
And it can have a big like impact on your life, you know, in like many different ways. But like, yeah, it can have a big impact on your life. But you're locked in, and that's it for life. And it's always done by some random things. So sometimes it's like your parents support a team, so you support a team. But like, it always feels for a lot of us, especially if you don't grow up in a town that has a good team, it's random, really just a random thing.
Yeah, and talking about that, you know, in Ukraine, we did have teams, but they never made it to some championships, or if they made it, they were losing like every round almost. And why do you do this to us? You know, why can't we be proud of our national teams? Like, so why do we have to choose other teams?
I never realized how important sport was until the pandemic hit. And sports seems to be like the most insignificant thing. You know, when people have died, who cares about sport? But I think there's something about sport. Like when it's not there, you're like, oh, the weekend is here, and what we're going to do, what we're going to watch. And it's also really interesting when it began again and there's no crowds, because suddenly you can hear everything the players are saying because there's no everything else, right? Like, wow, I'm sure they don't want to be saying that on live TV, but yeah, it's a really interesting experience, and I think I just appreciate sport now. I kind of get it. I kind of get, the role it plays in life.
What was your favorite Counter-Strike map to play on?
Have you played?
Yeah.
Really? Counter-Strike. I mean, I I love that most people are going to have no idea what we're talking about in this. I love Nuke. Do you remember Nuke? I like Nuke. It's in the warehouse in like the middle. I like, and like Dust 2 was good. Dust 2 was a great map. Yeah.
I feel like I didn't play too much on Nuke, but I remember Dust 2, Assault, and this map. I don't remember how it called, this map when you has just X between the map and you have a lot of weapons and you just like it's like quadrant shape map and just like terrorists and counter-terrorists are on different sides and you have like 3 ways to each other and you just like, very, very fast map to fight. It was something with covered with snow or something like that. I don't remember how it's called.
You know what? I feel Counter-Strike in this weird way has probably had as big an influence on my life as anything else. Like it got me involved in the community space. It got me connected with a lot of people that I'm still connected with today. Like Counter-Strike had this huge impact on my life, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame that people have a certain opinion of gaming that's negative. But when you actually spend time with people that are playing these games, especially at an advanced level, they're doing really remarkable things, like really remarkable things. And I was at like the age of like 18 and 19, I was running these Counter-Strike events across the UK and doing all this really cool stuff. But everyone else is like just playing games. And it's a shame really, because I think gaming can be amazing, really amazing.
What side did you usually play for?
I don't really mind, honestly. I think counter-terrorist is more my natural stance. I like defending more than attacking. It's probably a metaphor in there, right? But like, yeah, I felt counter-terrorist is more fun. Yeah.
What was your favorite gun?
I've forgotten what it was. I think it's the M4, right? The one with the silencer on it.
B43, I guess.
Doesn't sound right.
I don't remember, the fun thing that I don't remember names of the gun, but I remember how do you like hotkeys for every gun. And I remember like B43, B44, B15, B1, B13. And then I just
yeah.
My fingers still remember, and I remember it was 4-3, I guess that M16 was, and it was with this silence thing. And then
Right.
B44, it was with this sniper, how do you call it?
AWP, right? What?
I don't remember. It was B48, I guess, and it was like this really sniper rifle. And then it was 4-4, it was like automatical, but with this sniper vision.
Yeah, I remember like B81 was body armor, I think. B81. I don't know why I remember that, but like I remember like writing scripts, so you could just press a key and it would buy like everything
Wow, you were a cheater. Okay, I know.
Oh, you're allowed to write scripts, as far as I'm aware. Like, yeah, but that game, if I don't know how much time I spent playing that game, like it just made me fall in love with online communities, really. Like I realized more and more, kind of like now with chess, because I play like a lot of chess, like it's nice to hang out with people that do the same thing, even if you're not doing that activity. So I was spending so much time in chat rooms just chatting to people, and building a community in that space. Like, yeah, man.
I will share with you one fun story connected to Counter-Strike. I was, I guess, in the 8th or 9th grade, something like that. And we had like computer club near to our school. And we have like 15 minutes break between lessons. And we were like on the previous lesson, we already agreed who will play for who. We prepared money, we gave it to one person.
Yeah.
So this person go to administrator and give them money. And then we like the moment we hear the bell, we run to the computer club, we buy 10 minutes and we played Counter-Strike for 10 minutes. But the craziest thing that in this computer club, people smoked really hard. And after that, we were all in this cigarette smoke. And we come into another lesson and teacher like, you were smoking. We were not. You were smoking. I can smell it. No, we didn't. So it was a crazy thing. But yeah, funny Counter-Strike memories for sure.
I remember so I was really lucky. I began building a community, and then I began going to these like major events like all around the world. So I went to like World Cyber Games in South Korea and Dallas as the CPL and all these like really big events. And that was like, in a weird way, that was my life for a while. I was like flying at ridiculously young age, to these events to write about them for magazines or websites or help run those events. It was an incredible life for a while. Like it was really just, a wild life.
I can imagine. And since you travel so much, what home means for you?
Safety, in a word. Yeah, I like being home. I like being secure. I like being like in my domain. No one's going to get me in here. I think safety.
Richard, I really wish to have the sky as the limit to our conversation, but time is the limit. So let's jump to the rapid fire questions.
Sure.
Data or gut feeling?
Data in most aspects of your life.
Diving or flying?
Scuba diving is amazing. Like you dive for fun. I don't think many people fly. I mean, some do fly for fun, but scuba diving is amazing. Yeah.
What are your favorite color and song?
Favorite color, blue. Favorite song changes a lot. I think as a classic, I love Fast Car, like Tracy Chapman Fast Car. I think such a classic and amazing song.
If you were a superhero, what superpower would you have?
Always wanted to fly, honestly. I think flying would be the thing.
Who do you learn from in the community world? Name just one person.
One person. I think right now, who's impressing me the most is probably Brian Obligan. Yeah.
Name 2 people who I should definitely reach out to and have this conversation with.
I'm guessing Brian you've spoken to already.
But it counts.
No, I think Brian's great. I'm trying to think who else doing. I think Chris Detzel, I think that's how I say his name. Doing really interesting stuff on the data side as well. Like I like what he's doing. I think at the moment we need more people doing unique stuff. Like we don't need more like you build a content calendar by doing this thing. I think actually like having unique perspective, unique advice, unique expertise. I think we need more of that. And Chris is doing some really interesting stuff. Yeah.
Is there one question that I definitely should have asked you but didn't?
What should you have asked me? There's nothing that immediately comes to mind, but I would warn you, I'm really tired today. Nothing that immediately comes to mind. It depends like what you want to know, like do you feel that you know the real me? I think I'm, one thing we haven't talked about, or barely talked about, but I'm passionate about is chess. Like I've gotten really into chess the last years and I'm absolutely hooked on that game. There's nothing else, I think. Like I think you've done well.
Why do you like chess?
Chess is by far the best game ever created. Like you can learn it really easily, but to master it, there's never like a top level, you know. And at the moment, the range of the game that's so old, but people are still finding new ways to play it, you know, new strategies, new tactics. And I just find it amazing that you can learn so much about someone by how they play chess, how aggressive they are, how tricky they are, what kind of opening do they have, you know, do they use the same opening in every game or do they mix it up each time? And I find that amazing. I remember being in Iran and sitting down at a chessboard and some guy, you know, we can't talk to each other, but we can play
Yeah.
chess, right? And so it's like that I really love, you know. I think chess is just the ultimate game. People should play it. Just because you'll never hit the top. You know, you'll never reach a point where you can't get any better at the game. And I think that's exciting. Yeah.
What is the best way to learn playing chess?
I think Gotham Chess on YouTube is probably the best resource at this point. He's just released a book actually, like how to play chess. So I would recommend that.
Got it. You know, Richard, thank you very much for this conversation. And you know,
absolutely.
as you told, there is so much of you from the expert point of view, but there is really not that many of you from your personal point of view. And this conversation was a great experience, you know, to get to know you better, to get to know you behind FeverBee, behind this expert side, behind community expert. And it gave me a lot of enjoyment. And it's just, you know, I can't even describe this feeling, but you know, when you see something or somebody you like, you feel you know for ages, but then you see something from totally different side and you are amazed and you are happy. So that's exactly how I'm feeling right now, to getting to know you. Not that much, because it's impossible, you know. I feel like it's the whole life you're living, and it's just impossible to get to know all of you in 1 hour. Not really, you know. It's just the beginning.
Well, thank you. I'm flattered by your kind words. It's great to meet you in Prague, right? We met in Prague this year.
Yeah.
Like you gave a fantastic talk, and I love what you're doing. I love your unique approach to this. So thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you very much, Richard, and see you in the community world.